Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryndís, and today I'm doing my weekly reading wrap-up for the last week. It was a good reading week. I managed to finish 3 books, which is exciting. And yeah, let's just dive right into the books that I finished. The first book that I finished was a non-fiction called In Praise of Slowness by Honoré. In Praise of Slowness, challenging the cult of speed. So this is basically just about kind of going over the slow living movement, how it kind of started and what maybe prompted it. There's also some discussion about how through the Industrial Revolution, how things changed, how clocks all of a sudden became a thing, and how people started to getting paid by the hour instead of for just the project they did. And so there's some historical context there as well, and then kind of how people are probably from the 70s or at least the 80s, when people really just started to say okay, enough is enough, let's slow down a little bit. And so it goes through the slow food movement, which started in Italy, the slow education movement, slow cities, all sorts of different types of areas where slow has kind of become like a counter action to this kind of idea that we have that fast is good, that everything needs to be done fast. The sooner you are able to do stuff, the better you are as a person or as an employee or whatever. So it was very interesting, and really it kind of gave me some kind of background, basically. And this is something that I've been really interested in looking at, slow pedagogy for my job, but also just my own life, slow living, and how I can incorporate a very stressful, busy work life with this kind of more slow living. And I really like that. I like the approach of this book in that it's not about being anti-technology or against doing things fast. Some things you just need to do fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that it's more about probably intention, doing things with intention, I think is the thing here. And okay, sorry, Emma is eating my hair tie. I have to save it from her. I had to save my hair tie because it's not good. It can be dangerous for cats to if she would have eaten it. So anyway, so I really like this book. I mean, it wasn't, it was, I don't even know. I mean, I'm giving it 4 stars for just to give it something on Goodreads, but it's just informative book that is kind of both for work, but also for my own curiosity. I don't generally talk about the books that I read for work. I read a lot of academic books of different sorts. Generally don't talk about them here. Maybe that will change now that I'm kind of reading more for my own interest rather than my PhD. We'll see. Maybe, a couple of books I might talk about some of them here. We'll see. But anyway, I thought this was really interesting, and I really liked the approach that this book takes when it's talking about slow living, a slow movement, is that it's quite practical. So it's not, I'm trying to hide here, awkward holding this. Let me see. Okay, I can do it. Now, because my colleague's name is there. So I was trying to finish this book quickly because I have to give it back to her. I've already had it for a couple of weeks. And yeah, so sometimes I find when people are talking about slow living, that they are all being very spiritual and airy and these creative, artistic types that are just frolicking in the woods in long flowy dresses and baking sourdough bread from scratch, and, which is fantastic, you know. That's not me at all. I'm very type of person, but I still want to incorporate slow living. I just don't like the fluffy things that come with it for some people, and I like that. This one isn't against. Isn't, like I said, isn't anti-technology or against speed when it's needed, but it's just about the balance of how to know how and when to slow down and when to speed up, basically. And I really like that in this book. But yeah, it was a good read, and I really enjoyed it. Then the other two books that I finished were both audiobooks, and I don't have the physical copy. So the first one was Farenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. And I did this as part of Audio Miles, and you know, where you listen to an audiobook and you walk a certain, you know, you walk and then you kind of document your how many miles or kilometers you walk. So that was that's interesting. Now this book was, I picked it for two reasons. I've been wanting to read Ray Bradbury and been wanting to read this book in particular for a while, but also it's short. It was under 5 hours, the audiobook, and the books so far with Audio Miles have been, I think, around 10 hours, if I remember correctly. And I have always been scrambling to keep up and not been able to finish the book within the month and all these things, which is fine. Like, there's no, like, there are no, obviously, you do what you want, but I prefer to be following the other people. So since I decided not to read the group read for the month of May, which was, or is Memoirs of a Geisha, I decided to choose a short book, and this book fit that because it, like I said, is under 5 hours. So obviously I will put here on the screen the amount of kilometers and miles that I walked. But yeah, so I finished it yesterday, and I have to say that this is a very interesting book. I would not say that I enjoyed it very much, but I enjoyed it enough that I'm giving it 4 stars. Now, first of all, I think that this is a book that everybody should read. I think it would be a really good book to read in like high school, upper secondary school, and not only discuss kind of the literary aspects of the book, because I think there are a lot of things to, I mean, sometimes I felt when I was reading it, it almost felt like poetry. I think there's one part at the end where he's like, and in the darkness by the fire there were hands without arms in the darkness. The fire was, I don't know, the way he writes, often it felt like I was reading poetry. It was beautiful and very kind of flowed really well from like dialogue to description to all of these things. It was very like beautiful. But sometimes the beautifulness of the writing distracted me from the story itself. Because I was so like, oh, this is so beautiful, this is so beautiful. So I forgot like, oh, what happened? What is this dog? What type of a dog is this? What happened? What? 3 walls? There are only 3 walls to the apartment? Like what? Where is the 4th wall? Like, so there were things about the book that I thought were a little bit confusing. And I don't think they were explained, which is also fine. Maybe they didn't necessarily need to be explained. But this is, just in case you didn't know, a dystopian book, story that takes place somewhere in the future where books are banned. All books that are found are, burned. So the main character is a fireman, and his job as a fireman is to burn books. You don't need firemen for what we know firemen to be doing, because houses and everything has been made fireproof. it's a very strange dystopian world that I'm like, nobody, like, you don't really even, you have children, but the children are taken immediately and they may come to you like 3 hours a week or so. I don't know. It's horrible world. But basically, I find the main premise is that they wanted to take out everything that made people uncomfortable. So, or made people like confused. So, for example, they don't have politics anymore. They only have one political like opinions, because if you have two opinions, then people are going to argue, and that's gonna make you uncomfortable. And so, and if you have like books, obviously you're going to read something that's going to make you uncomfortable or make you question things. So that's not good. We don't want to question anything. We just want to do things. I think this is a very good book for people to understand the dangers of when people think that what's uncomfortable is dangerous. Because I find that we are at that place in our world, and this is happening in Iceland and I think everywhere around the world, where things are happening that are uncomfortable. Like people are protesting something. A lot of people screaming and protesting, and you find that you're like like the way you experience it is that, oh, it's so uncomfortable when people are shouting. We should just ban it. So you're confusing something that's uncomfortable with something that's actually dangerous, because people screaming and shouting isn't dangerous, Or if you find it uncomfortable to look at women wearing a burqa, so we should just ban burqas, or because it's dangerous, when it's actually just you finding it uncomfortable. And there are all this, stuff that you find uncomfortable, that anyone who's not like you just ban them, because it's much better that everybody's supposed to be the same, because that's comfortable. And so this book, I find, is a very good cautionary tale as what could possibly happen if we ban everything that makes us uncomfortable because we think it's dangerous. Anyway, because I think it's very healthy and very important to be uncomfortable sometimes. Anyway, I thought it was really good in that sense, but I did not necessarily enjoy this story very well. It's fantastic in so many ways, which is why I'm giving it 4 stars, but it's not like, I thought there were definitely, anyway, I think that you should read it if you haven't, but it's not the favorite for sure. And the third book that I finished is the 5th book in the Barsetshire Chronicles, The Small House at Allington, by Anthony Trollope. Oh, this was fantastic. So good. I think this is my favorite book so far of the 5 books of this series that I've read. There are 6 books in the series. And I think this book just was a culmination of everything. Like you have some reference to the other characters in the series, not a lot, very little actually, but a little bit. But it's just, and I think that it's really interesting. There are some beautiful love stories in there, and some not so beautiful, but they're also very realistic. So I don't think that this would be, I don't think that you could consider this as a romance or romantic book, really, about romantic, because it's very realistic. And I don't think you can necessarily mix the two in order for it to be a beautiful romance. Hope I'm not spoiling anything by saying that. But it's so nice. We have, I would say, 3 main characters. So we have Lily. Oh my God, I almost forgot. Lillian, called Lily, who's a young girl who falls in love with a man who is not necessarily the best man for her to be in love with. There's another man who's in love with her, so there's a triangle there. He is in love with her, but there's another woman who is trying to be in love with him, so there's another triangle there. The other man that Lily is in love with, he wants to marry another girl because she is rich, and so there's another triangle. A lot of love triangles going on, and it's just really interesting. Kind of, you learn a lot about the society at the time. This would be in the 1860s. I think it was published in 1864, if I remember correctly. And so just about so it's a lot of. I mean, obviously, I think that a big theme there is the importance of making a good marriage, and that making a good marriage is not necessarily about having a living, so that either or two of the partners have money, but also about, even if you have money, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good marriage, because you also need to mix, and like, even if you're not in love, you at least need to like each other enough that you want to live together and like be a family. And yeah, so that's very interesting. There's some interesting things about kind of the like how young men make a living. So we have two clerks who actually both become private secretaries. And interestingly, it's really interesting there about like workers' rights in this book, because first of all, these people, they seem to work from 11 to 5. So it's not a 9 to 5, it's 11 to 5, because they need to have a slow, lovely morning, apparently. And in there is also a lunch, I would think. And and then they also have a month off work. So that's obviously not a new thing, or a newer thing in the UK, that at least people in this type of clerical work, obviously upper class, had some very significant rights, apparently. And yeah, so that was really interesting for me to learn. But yeah, I love this book so much. And I'm now contemplating 5 stars, just in case you didn't know. My favorite so far of the 5 that I've read. And then the 6th book, I think, is called The Last of the Chronicles or something, of Barsetshire or something like that. And I want to read that. I don't know if I'm gonna just go straight into it. I finished The Small House this morning, and it kept me up half the night, because I wasn't trying to finish it just for this video, but I just couldn't. I was so excited about how it was gonna end. I could not, I went to sleep at like 1 a.m. this morning, last night, and I had to wake up at 7, but I was able to listen to the last hour before I went to work this morning. So quite tired at the moment because of Trollope. But yeah, very good book. Loved it so much. And now I am considering going straight into book number 6, like I said, because the book that I was going to read straight afterwards was Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens. But which I also have as an audiobook. I do have the hard copy, but I'm going to listen to it as an audiobook. But I am seriously thinking, I haven't decided, I'm going to decide later on today, if I'm actually just going to read the 6th book in the Barsetshire Chronicles and just keep this one until after. We'll see. But anyway, this is going to be my next audiobook for sure. Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens, part of my Dickens project. My plan is to read 6 books this year, and this is the 3rd one that I will read this year. I'm reading it approximately every other month, so even if I don't start this one until late May, I will then have June to finish it before. I'm not worried that I will be I'm not worried about keeping up with anything. So it doesn't matter if I start it today or next week. I actually think that I'm probably gonna, no, actually, I'm just deciding it here and now that I'm gonna finish book number 6 in the Barsetshire Chronicles, and then I'll be done with that series, which I've enjoyed so much. But I will let you know about that in my next update. But then the other book that I have been reading is The Stand by Stephen King. I have not read anything in this week. I was just focusing on finishing this one, and then the audiobooks. I was just listening to the audiobooks, and I was also just doing stuff. Didn't have a lot of reading time, physical reading time. But this week and the next couple of weeks, I think I'm gonna try to put this a little bit as a priority. And so next update, I hope I will be at least halfway, if not more. Because I would really like to try to get this not finished, but close to finished. Well, I don't know. I would just like to have some progress on it, basically. I'm really loving it, but other things have just kind of been in my way. Yeah, so that's my reading for the week. Next week, I don't think there's gonna be a video from me next week. I will be doing a lot of stuff this weekend. I don't think I will have time to film anything or edit it, so I will just give you my update on Stephen King, on Charles Dickens, and on Anthony Trollope in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, but it's been a really good reading week for me, and I'm very happy to be done with the books that I finished. Yeah. Okay, I think that's that. I don't think I have anything else that I want to talk about. No, that's that. I hope you are doing well. Let me know if you've read any of these books that I talked about. I mean, there's nothing new. I was the same books I talked about last week. But I really look forward to finishing the Barsetshire Chronicles by Anthony Trollope and then going on to the Pallister novels. I was just watching a video by Katie at Books and Things a couple of days ago where she was talking about Anthony Trollope and the series. And she was talking about the other series that he has, that the Pallister, it's called something else, but about the Pallister family. So I look forward to getting into that, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start with that, at least if I can find good audiobooks. I will start with that series this year as well, later this summer, really. Anyway, hope you're doing well, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.